Hello everyone and welcome to episode 2 of ATA Declassified. Today our podcast will be entirely dedicated to the new initiative launched by the Assassin's Creed team, the Mentors Guild. We're going to discuss with the Assassin's Creed community team what the Mentors Guild is about, how it's going to impact the community, and then we're going to chat with every mentor to know more about their role in the program. All that and more on ATA Declassified. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of ATA Declassified. I'm your host, Marco, and today we're not joined by Wayne, because today we're going to talk about a particular initiative that has been very recently announced. And because that initiative affects Access the Animus and specifically one member of our team, we invited that member, our webmaster Sary, to the podcast. So welcome to the podcast.
Hello everyone. It's so strange to be here and talk to you, to interview me. But fine to be here.
Well, it's nice because we're going to talk about something really interesting, I think. Yes. And like I said, it's a new initiative that has been announced today. It's called the Mentors Guild, and that's a program that that involved some members of the community, and you included. And yes. You were invited to Montreal.
Yes, we were invited in January.
Yes,
and it was like me and other 9 community members from all over the world. It was so nice to be all together there in Montreal, walking through the studios and seeing the game before it was even announced, and talking with people working on the game or trying the game even before anyone could know about it. So it was very exciting. Yeah. And so when we were there, they introduced us to this new project, so to the Mentors Guild. And I think it's a very, very interesting project, and it's something that it never happened before. But I think it's very important for all of our fans to really get what it means, what it is about.
Yeah, this episode of Declassified is specifically dedicated to the Mentors Guild, and to explain what this program is, we invited a lot of guests.
Yes. So be ready to listen to a lot of people talking about it.
Yes. And we're going to start with our beautiful ladies of the Assassin's Creed community team.
Yes. It's a real pleasure for us to have here our community developers, Stephanie Pecalco and Sensental from Montreal.
Thank you. Hi. Hello.
And our community managers, Lordin Petit and Grace Orlady.
Hi.
Oh, hello.
Welcome to the podcast, and we have a lot of questions for you, so I hope you're ready.
Yes, all
ready.
All right.
We ready?
Okay, so first question is like general question. Can you explain to our fans what the Mentors Guild is about?
Yes, I think I will reply to this question. First of all, I wanted to thank you for having us in this podcast, because we created this program to have this kind of opportunities and give you the chance to interview people from Ubisoft and create those amazing content. So thank you for that.
Thank you for being here and explain all.
And so to give you more info about the Mentors Guild, the Mentors Guild is our Assassin's Creed community leaders program. This program has been initiated by the community team, so us. You have Sansan, Stephanie, and we are in the studio. We are the community developers. Mm-hmm. And we also have, as you introduced them already, Lorlin and Grace, who are our community managers. So we built this program together in order to create a global organization of key members of Assassin's Creed community. So why we want to do that is because we want to build and nurture a very strong relationship with those people who are so passionate about the brand and AC in general. We want to recognize the talent and the dedication and all the time that you guys, for example, dedicate to alimenter, to
You're French.
yeah, sorry.
So wonderful.
To create all this content, to update your website, update all the rest of the community with all the knowledge that you have on the brand. So we want to leverage that and to be able to help you on what you already do amazing.
Yeah, you like you guys like in Access the Animus, you continue to impress us. It's like, you know, every time there's an information that goes out, you just like make those information even way more compelling than they already are. You know, so we appreciate that.
And also you guys are have a strong voice. So the fact that you guys are part of this program will give a strong voice within Ubisoft to have a better influence in the development team or the business team within Ubisoft. So this is very important. Also to have a lot of visibility on what the community think internally.
Okay. And if I can ask, how is this program different from the past fan ambassador programs?
Can I try to answer to this one? So
Please.
So I didn't like go into detail in the program, but in this one we try to. I hope that this one will be a larger scale. So that's why we created different categories. So you have 5 categories for now. So you have the creatives. So the creatives are the artists, the cosplayers, all the people who are in more artistic community. We also another category for opinion leaders. The opinion leaders are the one who we as a community team identify as very active on social media, very active on the forums, giving them opinion on the game.
And Reddit, don't forget
and
Reddit.
Reddit.
There's more.
Yes. Of course, Reddit. We also have the fan group leaders, the people who organize real life events, create a cosplay meetup, or having a website for like you guys, or who are admin of an AC, a dedicated AC group on social media, for example, or on PlayStation Network.
So you would say that Access the Animus is a fan group leader category.
So Access the Animus, Sary and Marco, you guys are part of the fan group leaders category.
Yeah.
So this is the third one. The fourth one is content creators. So they are the people who create amazing video, who stream the game. And the last one is the reporters. So the reporters are the ones who go to events, who they can represent the community and share their feedback on what they think about the game, but also about the event in general.
Something about the content creators as well, because we are also considering under that category the writers, the people who are interested in sharing the content, you know, that we go out, that we share, that goes out every important points of the game. So games communication rather. So yeah.
Okay.
And I think that among the in the reporter categories, we have already seen like a taste of that in the wrap-up E3 video.
Yes, that's a perfect example. So for now we have so Culprit and Alex who are reporters, but of course we are recruiting for more reporters in the future.
Oh, we'll
So-
get into that later.
It sounds we have more, right? Like we have more categories in the future.
Yes, so the goal is to I told you about these 5 categories, but the goal is to grow, because we know that the community on AC is so diverse that we want to grow and according to what we feel that deserve a new category, we will do it.
Okay. So another question that I think a lot of fans would be interested in asking you, and so we're asking you first, is how did you guys and girls choose the mentors in the first place?
Yeah, this is Grace. I can take that one. So initially we had a pilot group that we picked, which, yours truly are part of. So how that worked is that we picked 10 people that came to the studio, the Montreal studio, where we're developing Origins in January. And in that, they got to give some feedback on the game, but they also got to give feedback on this program. So, how it can be fruitful for both the Assassin's Creed team and for the community members who are part of it. So a lot of what we wanted to do was make sure that this was a community-driven program. So the mentors who are part of it have what they need to really make a difference in terms of fostering, community among the Assassin's Creed fans. So essentially how the process worked is that we got a huge group list of people who we thought would be good for it. So we had people from all over the world. We had our community manager in Europe, who's Laureline, and myself, who's in North America. So we put together a global list of the people that we thought would be a good fit for this. And then we narrowed it down. We narrowed it down again, and then we presented it to some of our internal teams. So people who work on the game, people who are a part of how the game is presented to fans, our brand people, people who work on the game, like the devs. So it turned into a very collaborative sort of selection process, in that it wasn't just people from the community team picking, it was also people from the Assassin's Creed core team who make the game, and they said, yeah, we think these people would be a good fit. And then from there, we reached out to the people who we were interested in, and thankfully you guys were amenable to participating in it with us. And then, you came to the studio in January, so it was fun.
And
sorry.
I just wanted to add that those 10 people really helped us during their trip in Montreal in January to shape this program. So I really wanted to thank those 10 leaders who kind of really we collaborate together to create this program to make sure that it fits all the community needs, and make sure that the 10 people are representative of the whole community.
Well, I actually think that it's the 10 of us, so I mean the 10 mentors, that should thank you for what we did back in Montreal. But however, while we are at it, I wanted to ask you a question that I will ask all the other guests later. And it's, what was your favorite moment when we were there with you in the Ubisoft studios?
Oh gosh,
That's a difficult question to answer.
I can go. I have this ready. So when you guys got to meet Ashraf Ismail, who's the game director for Origins and also worked on Black Flag, I don't know, just like it was so cool because like the atmosphere in the room, I think, kind of changed because he has such a genuine presence and he really loves this game. And I think it was so cool for him to, because sometimes the devs, they don't get as much personal feedback from the community, because they're in crunch mode. They're working on this game. They're getting it ready and polished and super playable by the time it gets released to the public. So sometimes, having that, they miss that human touch a little bit, I think, with which the community team gets every single day, and that we interact with you guys. So hearing him interact with you guys, these fans who've poured so much time and passion into Assassin's Creed, and the person who's poured so much time and passion into making the game come together and discuss this and have this dialogue, to me that was so cool. It was amazing. I was just sitting in the corner like, yay.
To add to what Grace just I think one of the most amazing things is that we were able to record a thank you message from you guys, so the 10 people who was invited in the studio, to record a personal message to the dev team here in Montreal. And when we put together the thank you message and we show this video to our team meeting that we have every month to the dev team, well, it was very emotional, and we got a lot of positive feedback from people working on the game. Tell us that thank you for showing us this message, because we are so into working so hard in the game and we don't see really people reaction, and then after they're working on the game, they have to move on to other projects and stuff like that, so they don't really have the opportunity to interact with the community. So it was a way indirect way to interact with you, but it was very powerful message
For sure. And the fact that I think that you, in that video, although there are only 10 of you or so who spoke, but you're representative of the community, and it's like you're speaking on behalf of the millions of fans and communities of AC all over the world. So that was really impactful. But for me, I guess, because I have so many great moments with you guys when you visited here, I think I want to call out the first one among the greats is that to see you in the lobby, to actually see all of you here in Montreal. That was a little overwhelming for me, and it really made me so extremely happy, because what I think we weren't able to mention earlier is that when we called you and asked you if you could come over and be a part of this program, as the program is still very young and we want to build it with you, you all said yes. And I can't even express it any further, the many times that I have mentioned it, but it was nerve-wracking for us to ask you to be here in Montreal. It's so true. That is so true. But, that moment when I saw you all in the lobby, all like 10 of you, of course, Clement had to follow, but still knowing that you're going to be here, that was like really, really good for me.
And also seeing you guys all getting well together, you really you were a very solid group.
Yeah.
And that you were so comfortable in front of the dev team also. You were giving honest and very constructive feedback.
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing also for the people that work on the game.
So for what people mostly don't know is that the developers here, they appreciate those constructive feedback more than just praises, because the constructive feedback doesn't mean negative feedback. It means that what you think can help make the game better. Those are great things that we receive from you, and then we'd like to thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I will never stop saying thank you. It's so strange for me to hear you thanking me, because it actually is the other side.
I guess the feeling is mutual.
However, moving on for a second, I think we have another question, and it is for all the people in the community that have activities or pages or stuff like that, and that would like to become a mentor. The question is there a way for them to become a mentor? Is there something they have to do? Can you tell them something more about this?
I think I can answer to that question. I think, first of all, on the principle, fans don't become mentors. They are mentors. Because as Sansan explained before, we are not asking the mentors to do something different that they're already doing. We are just gathering a group of very talented persons to join this program. So I think even before we created this mentor guild, to give the example of Access the Animus, were already somehow mentors for us. But to give more concrete examples, so Sansan talked about the different categories. So basically what we are doing, what we are looking at when we gather this first group of mentors are artists or cosplayers that will have a specific focus on Assassin's Creed characters, people that have a website, a channel, a Facebook group dedicated to Assassin's Creed, or that are organizing events around Assassin's Creed brand, or that are participating somehow in the community for Assassin's Creed. So obviously, you need to have quite a focus on the games to be qualified, if I may say, as mentor.
Yeah.
And in the future, what we would like to do when the program will grow, when it will extend and reach to other people, is to be able to provide a form for people to apply, and being able to show us what they are doing, why they are dedicated to the community, what they are bringing to the others, and we will be able to judge if we are sharing the same values around this community, if we think that we can grow together, because that's the main purpose is for us to cooperate around the brand, and to make the community a better place by giving you more visibility, and by helping the people that are already creating content.
Mm-hmm.
So now everybody could technically send us their profile links to what they're doing. Could it be fan art? Could it be a super fan group dedicated to, I don't know, collecting figurines, or whatever everybody is interested in and very passionate about.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
If I may also add one high level perception towards this program, is that there is a reason why we chose the word mentors. You know, in AC, you are someone who is also going to not specifically train in a context, but also pass on that passion and that drive and that motivation to newcomers who are willing to be someone who want to influence everyone else in the community for the better, to help each other improve your talents, your skills and abilities, or even just expand your group. And so AC as a brand, you know, will provide that avenue for you, for the leaders, for the mentors, through this program.
That's a very complex kind of answer, but I think it gives a good idea to our fans about what the mentors are, and how the fans can trust them in a way, and in a way also how they can apply maybe in the future.
Yeah, sure. And I think what I like about Laurelyn's answer is that she describes it as also not just like a qualification program, but also a mindset. You know, you can't be just someone who can join the program. You have to have that you know, inspiration, that mindset to want to be able to train others, to share your passion, you know, and to be there for others too in general. So that's why probably it sounds more like what do you call it? Intrinsic or extrinsic? Okay, forgive my confusion on the terminologies, but I hope you get it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so just to clarify things for the fans, are the mentors working for Ubisoft?
Because I think this is something
that a lot of fans are going to ask. So just to clarify for everyone else.
Okay, so well, the mentors, no, and the mentors are never gonna work for Ubisoft. As I am alluding to what previously had San shared or Laurelyn shared, you already are doing what you're doing. That's awesome and amazing, and we're just here to help you foster everything that you're doing for Assassin's Creed. That said, we will never ask you to be someone who's officially like are working for us, and it never will happen ever in the history of this program. So yeah, it's very straightforward.
Okay.
All right. Before we wrap up, girls, would you like to add anything else for our fans?
Sure, I can start. I'd like to thank everyone listening to this podcast, and especially those who have been following Access the Animus. You guys are amazing, and I hope that you'll continue to be there for us as we will be there for you. Have a fantastic
I don't know. I don't feel there is any closing after what you said. Everything we could ever say. So whatever we say, we're gonna look stupid. Like there is nothing we can add. Like +1.
Upvote.
+1. I upvote you.
Yes. Verbal
All right,
upvote.
girls. Thank you so much once again, and let's start with our first guest.
Thank you.
So in the next segment, we're going to start from what the community team told us about what the Mentors Guild is, and we're going to introduce you to all the mentors following the groups that we described before.
Yes, Marco, and I think we should start with the opinion leaders. In the Mentors Guild, the opinion leaders are represented by Dylan and Six Keys, and their role, just to give you a brief explanation, and they will expand about this later, is to generate discussion among the community and to collect the feedback and give it to the developers so that they can be able to give voice to the community feelings.
So the first mentor we'd like to introduce to you is our friend Dylan. Hello, Dylan.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
So Dylan, can you please introduce yourself to our fans?
Yeah, so my name is Dylan, but you probably know me as Turl on the internet. I'm a moderator of the Assassin's Creed subreddit, but I also, I'm active in the Assassin's Creed Twitter community, I guess, as well.
And how did you get involved with the AC community?
Well, I mean, I've been around the community for actually a pretty long time. I think it's maybe been 7 years or something like that.
That's a lot.
Yeah, so I first started out on the forums a long time ago, and I came around because I was really interested in the story of what was going on or around Assassin's Creed Brotherhood and Revelations. Mm-hmm. And so I started going on the forums because I had a lot of questions and I wanted to talk about it with other people. And eventually I found Reddit, and I just started using that site more and more, and eventually kind of stopped going to the forums altogether. I'd like to start going back sometime soon, but I've just been pretty busy. But now, after being on the Assassin's Creed Reddit for a while, I applied as a mod there after about being a user for 2 years or so, and I've been a mod of the subreddit for 2 years now, I think. So that's kind of the quick version of it.
So you told us that you are a long-time fan. So what is your favorite game in the franchise?
My favorite game is definitely Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and it goes back to the whole reason I kind of started coming around the community was I really thought that the story was it had a lot of twists, and I thought that they executed really well of having I really liked the character interactions of the modern day characters like Desmond, Lucy, and Sean and Rebecca, and I thought Ezio was Ezio's at his prime really in Brotherhood, and I think that Brotherhood is basically a slightly better version of Assassin's Creed 2. So Assassin's Creed 2 is an incredible game, but I think Brotherhood just did a lot of things in terms of gameplay and storytelling that just kind of exceeded Assassin's Creed 2. So
perfect. And well, you just told us that you are moderator for Reddit, which is, I guess, a lot of work.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it's definitely busier at some times than others, but right now we have a team of 3.
Okay.
And it's definitely picked up since Origins was announced. So I've been busy, but nothing I can't handle.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And well, however, how much of your time during the day you dedicate to what you do for the Assassin's Creed community?
I think I spend at least an hour every day, and on the weekends, or during the weeknights, I'll spend extra, 2 or 3 hours, depending on what's going on. Like for a while when Origins was announced, there was a lot going on. It was about 2 weeks where I was pretty much on the subreddit for at least 2 hours a day, maybe more. Yeah, and there was a while where we were going through a whole redesign, and I'm the primary person on that, so that was a lot of work. But I dedicate. I try not to dedicate too much time, but sometimes I can get carried away.
As we all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we already said more or less that you're going to be an opinion leader for the Mentors program, but can you expand a bit more about it for our fans?
So me and Six Keys from the forums. We both represent the two main discussion communities, which is the forums and the subreddit. And so our role is to kind of make sure that mediate conversation and make sure that things are constructive and just kind of encourage people to kind of talk about Assassin's Creed in general, and giving we've done this once already with having our AMA with AMAR, and so being able to bridge the gap between the users themselves and the developers and the people that help make Assassin's Creed is one of the really big parts of me being a mentor. I've also done some graphic work already, and I'm sure there will be more of that. We've talked about doing a podcast, and I don't know if that's going to come to fruition, but we'll see. But yeah, that's for the most part what I've been doing as a mentor.
Okay. And as a last question, what was your favorite things of the things we did in Montreal back in January?
Yeah, that's a really hard. It really is a hard question to answer, because every day was we were doing something all the time every day, and everything was really fun and engaging. None of it really felt like work at all, or anything like that. The best day was definitely the first day. We were able to tour the studio, and we got to play a build of the game for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably the best part would be playing the game and then being able to talk about the game, the game with the people that helped develop it, like Ash and other people there at the studio. So
yeah, that was definitely a highlight.
Yeah, it's definitely a highlight. But like I said, there's so much. There was so much cool stuff we did that I'm even having trouble remembering everything.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Can you tell our fans where they can find you on the web?
Yeah. So you can find me on the subreddit. We are at reddit.com/r/Assassin's Creed. My name is Turl9 on there. You can follow the subreddit on Twitter. Let's see. You can just at @Assassin's Creed, the letter R followed by Assassin's Creed, and then you can follow me on Twitter @_Turl TURUL _again. So.
Okay. Perfect.
That was a lot.
Well, so many ways to find you. So.
Yes.
Well, Dylan, thank you so much for being part of the show.
Thanks, guys. That was really fun.
Well, thank you, Dylan. And now let's introduce our second guest and mentor, our second opinion leader, our dear Six Keys. Hello, Six Keys.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, for the fans that might not know you, can you introduce yourself?
So I'm Six Keys from Finland. I enjoy drawing and hanging out on the forums and taking care of my hyperactive cat.
So you mentioned that you are very active on the forums, and we really know that. So, can you tell us how did that start and when?
I joined the forums around 2010, so about 7 years ago. It was around the time Brotherhood had just been announced and the AC hype was at its peak. I really enjoyed discussing the games with other fans, so I stayed, and I've been one of the most active posters ever since.
So I think it's already pretty clear from what you said, but can you tell our fans what your favorite game is?
Well, it is Brotherhood. It's just a great overall package with interesting modern day and lots of activities. I like how all the side content feeds into the same goal, taking down the Borgias. Not too much random stuff like beating up husbands for no reason. And I also love the multiplayer, and I miss it a lot.
Oh, I so much love the multiplayer. I'm so missing it. I really hope that in the future they're going to bring it back.
Yes, definitely.
So, going back to what we said about your activity on the forums, how much time do you spend on them? I don't know, interacting with the community or sharing your opinion and stuff like that?
Probably around 1 or 2 hours a day. The forums are almost the first thing I check when I go online every day. It's just become a routine. It's less active there than it used to be, but whenever a new game is announced, the forums pick up some steam again. I just participate in discussions and sometimes try to help if someone's having issues with their game and comes in asking for help or tips.
Well, speaking of this, and in particular of helping fans when they have issues or stuff like that, we can move directly to our hot topic, so the Mentors Guild. And I would like to ask you, what is your role?
So my official title is Opinion Leader, which sounds really fancy. I tend to describe myself as just the person who complains on the forums all day. But really what it means is giving constructive criticism about the games, talking with other fans, surveying the mood of the forums and other people's feelings and ideas about the games, and reporting that general atmosphere and feedback to the developers. Sometimes I agree with other people's opinions, sometimes not. But if there's a feature that I see brought up again and again, something like hood toggle or modern day, then whether or not that's important to me personally, I can tell the developers, I see a lot of discussion around this feature. It's a topic that keeps coming back over and over again, so it's obviously important to many people. And they can, of course, do with that information whatever they want. It's no guarantee that they'll add something just because a lot of people keep asking for it. But my goal is to at least make them aware that this is being talked about a lot. And when I'm at events like E3, I make an effort to specifically ask the devs about these topics that I know are important to many fans.
So, 6 Keys. We talked about this with Dylan as well. So, about your trip to Montreal, what's your favorite memory?
Well, getting to play the demo early was great, obviously. But I honestly loved the workshops the most. Getting to talk with other fans and the developers about AC, this topic that we're all so passionate about. We may not always agree on everything, but that's what makes it interesting. Getting to hear how different people approach these games, how many different play styles there are, and how that can affect so much what you look for in these games. Some people are really into combat, really straightforward, just play through the story as quickly as possible. And others like to take things slowly, use stealth a lot, do a lot of free roaming, spend weeks to see and do absolutely everything. We all want to make these games better, but what's better is so subjective. And the more you learn, not everyone likes this thing, that thing that I like, the more you try to work towards a compromise that will be satisfying to everyone.
Yes, that's so much true. So thank you very much for being our guest. And can you please tell our fans where they can find you, just to talk to you or to complain together about what you don't like or like about the game?
Well, obviously I'm on the forums a lot. I'd also have a Twitter account, but I'm not really on there that much. And I'm also on Discord sometimes. So that's about it.
Okay, 6 Keys, thank you so much. And now we can move on to the next category of mentors.
In this part of the podcast, we are going to introduce you to other two groups of the mentors, and they are the reporters, which are represented by Culprit and Alex, and the creatives that are represented by Sam and Faye.
Okay, to give you a brief explanation of what these two groups will do, basically the creatives are going to have to create content that showcase the beauty of the games and its characters, and of course share it with the community. While the reporters are basically going to be the face of the group, especially at conventions, and they're going to go to events and report all the stuff that they're going to see at such events.
So without any further ado, I want to introduce you to our first reporter, and it's Culprit. So welcome to the show, Culprit.
Hello.
So, Culprit, I think you're a well-known personality among the Assassin's Creed community, but for those who might not know you, can you please introduce yourself to them?
Sure. My name is Culprit Verdi. You'll probably recognize me from Twitter and from social media channels such as Instagram. I'm also part of the Assassin's Creed cosplay community, so you might have seen some images or seen me at conventions in my various Assassin's Creed cosplays.
So you've been an active member of the Assassin's Creed community for quite some time now. So what were your first steps in the community?
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited for the first Assassin's Creed game, and because there wasn't really anything else like it on the market at the time it came out. So I was really interested in the whole role-playing and the history element, because I'm a massive history fan. So anything that involves some sort of history, I'm in there. So I actually bought the first game, and it was when I first got my Xbox. So I wasn't really familiar with the controls or anything like that, but I didn't really like it. So it really left me quite disappointed. So I kind of left the Assassin's Creed franchise sort of around that time. And then AC2 had come out sort of, I think it was around probably about 6 months after AC2 was released that I picked up AC2, because everyone kept saying to me, I know you didn't like the first one, but give the second one a try. So I did. And that was the moment that I absolutely fell in love with AC2. So then I kind of started talking a lot about it on social media, and a lot of people started replying, which is really cool. And I got involved with the community online and cosplay too, because it was for the launch of Assassin's Creed 3, because I was working in a video game store, that I did a cosplay for Ezio. So that's how I got involved in the cosplay community. Looking back on it now, it was probably the worst cosplay with your first one. But so that's how I started getting into the community. But so I'm very active sort of on social media, and a lot of my work is on Twitter. So that's how I got involved in that front.
Yeah. And well, you mentioned a bit of what your favorite games are, but can you tell our fans what's your actual favorite game is and why?
Sure. I mean, my favorite Assassin's Creed game of all time has to be Assassin's Creed 2. I think that's probably one of the fan favorites out there.
Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
The game, yeah, I mean, it's the game that absolutely changed the Assassin's Creed franchise. I mean, I sort of feel like AC1 was sort of testing the waters slightly, but then AC2 came out and it was like, bang, Assassin's Creed is here to stay. So, I mean, everyone loves Ezio, and he's one of the main reasons that game is my favorite. I love how brash he is. He's really cheeky, and he's really nice to look at as well, I'm not going to lie. And I love the storyline. I mean, the Vengeance storyline was great, and that opening scene where they're on the bell tower, and you have him and his brother, and then if you replay the game, you know how it's going to end, and you're just like, oh no, every single time I play it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, why does this have to happen? So yeah, I mean, I love loved AC2, and I'm a massive fan of the Italian Renaissance as well. So to see that in a game and to explore the world in a game of that time period was really exciting for me, and it just had me hooked on Assassin's Creed since.
So you mentioned that you are very active on social media and with the cosplay community as well. So how much of your day is dedicated to what you do with and for the AC community?
Well, my day job is pretty demanding. I work in the legal profession, so that takes up a lot of my time. But any spare time that I do have, sort of here and there, I do tweet a lot about Assassin's Creed. So whether that be any recent news that's come out, any images, I know I retweet Access the Animus a lot because I love the stuff that they do. And so quite a bit of my time is actually spent sort of looking for things to post and engaging with fans on social media. I mean, my Twitter is I'm lucky to have quite a responsive follower list on Twitter. So if I do post something about Assassin's Creed, then people do reply, and then I will reply, and it turns into a big conversation and everyone gets involved. And I really do like that because it's nice to share your passion with other passionate fans and to meet other people through these platforms too. I just think that the game has brought a lot of people together, and a lot of people have met up over these games. And I mean, with regards to how much of my time I actually spend, I mean, obviously I spend a bit more time on it if there's a cosplay involved. So I think I put on Twitter, that my Henry Green, the first one that I knocked up, took 10 days because of the short time frame of when his outfit was actually revealed to the convention I was going to. So that was quite a short amount of time to put an outfit together, but it does vary, and I am very active on social media, so it does take up quite a bit of my day.
So, Culprit, going back to the Mentors Guild, we already introduced you as a reporter, but can you please say something more about what you're going to do in the future for the project?
Sure. Well, my official title for the Mentors Guild is Social Media Influencer. So that kind of tallies along with what I've already mentioned about being active on social media channels. So it means sort of keeping fans updated about recent developments with games, events they can attend, and things that they can just get involved with, creating hype for the game. I know I get really excited when the developers release new news. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just need to talk about this with someone, and people do. So yeah, I mean, and I'm quite active as well on it stretches out onto my Instagram accounts as well, so I speak to quite a few people on there, and my role also extends to being a reporter as well. So that means sort of covering events such as E3, which was to cover quite recently. So it was really nice at E3 to speak to other fans, especially people who had just come out of the demo of the game, to get their insight and see what they feel kind of hot off the press sort of played the game. So it was really, really cool to see people's reactions.
Yeah.
And there's a question that we asked the other mentors, and of course it's about your trip to Montreal back in January when you were invited by Ubisoft to the studio. So what's your favorite memory from that trip? Is there a specific kind of moment that is very strong in your memory?
Oh gosh, I think the whole trip was fantastic. I don't think I could actually just pick one actually. So we had a tour around the studio, which was fantastic because there were just people sort of who we know off social media, like the developers and people from the Assassin's Creed team sort of just walking around on the floors. And you're just kind of like, wow, I'm actually here. But I think one of my favorite memories is actually walking through the Assassin's Creed floor. And before we were told the setting of the new game, we walked into that floor and we could see sort of concept art of Egypt. And I think that was probably my one of my favorite memories is the fact that that was it. I mean, that we could see people working on the game, and it's been something that they've been working on for years. And on on the floor we went on, there was a little stuffed camel on someone's desk. And I just like every time I see like a camel teddy or something, it just reminds me of Montreal and the fantastic time I had. But like I said, there was so many memories that we had on that trip, and that was one of them. Apart from playing the game as well, which was epic.
Yeah, it was a highlight too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Culprit, for being our guest, and for just closing the interview with you. Can you please tell our fans where they can find you on social so that they can interact with you?
My Twitter account, which is where I pretty much do all of my social media posts, is at @CulpritVerdi, and I also have a blog at haystacksandsquatracks.blogspot.com.
Okay, thank you very much, Culprit, for being part of this podcast.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Thank you again, Culprit. Moving on, our next guests are going to be sort of like a link between the categories of the reporters and the creatives.
Yes, and that's because they are our real-life couple in the group, and they are Sam and Alex.
Hello, guys.
Hey.
Hi.
So we learned to know the two of you when we were back in Montreal in January, but for our fans, can you say something about you?
Sure. You want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
Okay. So my name is Alex. We are both from California in the United States. Assassin's Creed fans for many, many years, since the original. And we are cosplayers. That's kind of how we got involved with the community and the Mentors Guild specifically.
Yeah, and I'm Sam. I am an artist, and I love drawing worlds and grabbing inspiration from Assassin's Creed. And yeah, we love creating costumes, and that's how we just really kind of fell in love even more with Assassin's Creed and getting to meet so many people from it.
So you just mentioned that you are cosplayers, and not just some cosplayers, you have a very high quality of detail in your work. So how did you start, and what was the process that got you involved in the AC community?
You want to tell the Andy story? Or should
Well, I think we should kind of rewind and start with Alex loved Assassin's Creed, and he introduced the world to me. And I like to always kind of mention he's Ezio, and I'm kind of Leonardo da Vinci. I'm like the Da Vinci to his Ezio. Like, he would show me things and I get really excited and want to build them. And I had no idea how to make costumes at the time. We just got really inspired, and it was around, I think Black Flag was the first.
That was the first costume.
That was the first costume we made from Assassin's Creed, and just looking at all the layers, and I was like, this is going to be a challenge. How are we going to do it? And we just started building and then went to a convention, and that's how we started meeting everyone. And
you had your Connor costume.
Oh yeah,
the sort of the DLC version, the Renegade version. So not the colonial robes, but sort of the wolf hood and everything like that. So she had a dim version of that, and I was in my Kenway. So we were like the Kenway family.
Yeah. And so we would wear those to conventions, and slowly we got to meet a lot of amazing people in the community. And you can talk about meeting Andy.
Okay. So sort of how we got involved with the Mentors Guild directly is during the, what year would that have been? 2015, I guess?
Yeah. When the movie was starting to get promoted.
Yeah, leading up to the movie. So it would have been 2016,
2016,
actually.
yeah.
So leading up to the release of the movie, we saw the first image of Maria and Aguilar kind of peering over that wall, and we were like, we need to be them, because they look super, super cool.
Like the outfits and the style, we're like, we don't know anything about them, but we need to make these right now.
and I'm a white guy with a brown beard, and she's kind of like a little bit darker complexion, so we were like, we even kind of look like them.
Like, we can pull it off.
Yeah. And so through social media, Sam actually got a hold of Andy at Esco Blades, as he's known in the community, who at the time was sort of the, I guess he was the community leader or community manager of Assassin's Creed. And he was very generous, and the movie hadn't come out yet, so we were working off of just very poorly taken screenshots.
Photos from the trailer.
Yeah, just screenshots from the trailer that we were trying to grab, and he was nice enough to offer us the turnarounds for the costumes. before they had been released to the public, which was super cool.
Yeah, and so helpful. I cried when I got them because as a cosplayer, that's all I want is like a nice, crisp image and to see details of her. Because I thought for sure I wouldn't see anything till the movie actually came out.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna have to wait till December. Like, how am I gonna build this?
Aguilar wasn't too bad. There was enough of him, but there wasn't very much of Maria. And so, thankfully, he gave us those. We were able to get him out for Comic-Con that year, so last year, 2016. And we met up with Andy officially, and that was sort of how our journey started with him and Ubisoft and everything that led up to us being part of the Mentors Guild and the community. Yeah.
Yeah, well, Andy is in the story of a lot of people.
Yeah, and a lot of mentors as well. So.
Keep it all together.
Yeah.
Okay, so, well, knowing Alex a bit, I feel like the next question I'm going to ask is a bit useless. But what's your favorite game? And why? I have to ask because not everyone knows you, so...
Yeah, you know how much he loves this character.
Yeah. Ad nauseum in January, I talked about how much I loved Assassin's Creed Black Flag. For a number of reasons. I mean, Edward is, I think it's hard to say that he's my favorite because Ezio, but like they're probably tied. It's just we spend so much time with Ezio. We got to see him literally from birth to death between the games and the movies and stuff like that. So you're just so attached to him. But I just love Edward as a character because he's so different to all the other assassins. He doesn't care about the creed or, even, his only real link to the creed is sort of the freedom that he thinks all humans have the right to. And that's sort of how he evolves and eventually becomes a sort of master assassin. But I just love his sort of carefree demeanor throughout the course of the game. And then just gameplay. Pirate ships, man. I mean, like, it's just had really done it at that point, sort of at that quality. And so it was just so fun to just sail around and explore the world and hunt for whales and whatever else it was. Just activities you did. It was so cool and fresh and unique in so many ways. So that's hands down my favorite. And I don't know if it'll ever be topped. We'll see.
We'll see. You never know. I mean,
Origins is this made by the same team, so we'll see.
And the style is very.
What about you, Sam?
So if anyone top it, then so.
What about you, Sam?
Oh gosh, I would say Kenway too, just because he really, like, making that costume really pushed my limits as far as what can I create in reality. It's one thing to like love a character for the way they look and their style and who they are as a person, but to actually try to recreate his wardrobe was so difficult, and trying to make it real pushed all parts of my skills, and it made me grow. And I think I owe a lot to that character, because sometimes you don't know what you can actually make until you go for it. And so I think I have a lot to owe to Kenway. Also, I know it wasn't the game, but I really loved Maria as a character, because she also pushed my skill set. I never expected to do so much beadwork or, different types of custom painting. And for me, Maria really, once again, just helped me understand my skill set and what can I do and how can I push myself and grow further. So I know it's not the game, but as far as a character is concerned, I really feel connected to her for what she did for me as an artist.
So one of the questions that we asked to the other mentors, and I think it's very interesting for what you do, is how much of your day is dedicated to what you do for the AC community, so as cosplayers and artists, and what's your typical day at work? So what do you do usually during the day to for the cosplay and for your art?
I think that's an amazing question, and I think with cosplay, it's very interesting because you spend a lot of your time kind of working by yourself. And something I like to try to do more of is show progress to help inspire people, so that way they can feel a little inspired to make their own assassin's costumes, because they are intense builds. Like anyone who wants to make an assassin costume, like there's so many layers and belts and hardware, and it's a warm costume as well. So something we try to do for the community is to share our process and really just try to create a friendly environment when we go to a convention. So we spend a lot of our time alone creating in our little cave, and then we go to a convention and try to celebrate our love of Assassin's Creed when we're actually at the convention. So it's amazing to see it kind of all unfold.
Yeah, and then we do costumes from other universes, TV shows, movies, other games, and things like that. But I feel like, especially for Sam, because she's definitely the chief architect when it comes to our costumes.
Yeah,
she's the real deal.
I'm the Leonardo, and he's Ezio. He has the charm and knows how to really embody the character.
I just bring her the blueprints, and then she builds everything.
Well,
but
yeah,
I've just seen her kind of evolve so much through the course of all the cosplays that we've done. But I really truly feel that the Assassin's costumes that she's made so far, those have pushed her further, and those have progressed her skills further than almost any other costumes that we've ever done, just because they're a combination of so many elements. They all have lots of fabrics, but some have armor pieces, and they have their gauntlets, and they have their hoods and everything like that. And it's definitely, I've seen it in the costumes we've built since, like the quality has gone so much higher, but just because she's been able to evolve through building the assassin cosplays. Like I remember, and even just evolving the assassin costumes themselves, like we had Aguilar and Maria for Comic-Con, but since then we've done more enhancements to them, and just keeping those going and kind of setting a certain cap of quality, I guess, that we want to hit every time. And the Assassins definitely helped her level up, as it were. So.
Yeah.
Well, moving on a bit to the Mentors Guild topic. So you are a couple in real life, but into the Mentors Guild you're, let's say, working as individuals, so you have different roles. Can you tell us something more about that? Can you tell us what that means?
So my role in the Mentors Guild, as far as my official title, is reporter. And so I don't know if you saw the Ubi blog essentially from E3, but I was there. What's that?
The wrap-up video.
Yeah, the wrap-up video, exactly, the wrap-up video from E3. So Kulpreet and I actually got to go around and interview people who are playing the game for the first time, kind of their thoughts. So I guess essentially we would be sort of the liaison between the Mentors Guild and the rest of the community, seeing what people think about games or things that Assassin's Creed is doing. So that's sort of my role in the guild, is just chatting with people and seeing how they feel about everything.
And so my role with the Mentors Guild is I'm a creative, and I guess my role would be to really encourage people to, use their creativity and their love of Assassin's Creed and combine them together. So whether that be through art or cosplay, it's a way to kind of create a safe environment to really express what you love. And I was really honored to help with the cosplay turnarounds. I remember sending notes and saying, like, as a cosplayer, we want to see angle, what color is this, what does the fabric look like? And so to kind of help create the actual official guides for future characters from Assassin's Creed was really wonderful to see it get such great response as well. So that's pretty much my role, is to kind of harness creativity and express that with others, with the community and team.
Okay, perfect.
And another question that we're really interested in knowing your opinion about is, what's your favorite memory from the trip to Montreal that you guys did back in January? Because it got so many different opinions and answers by the other mentors. So I'm really curious about what you'd like to share with our fans.
Oh, there's so many memories. So many.
Is there an option just to say everything?
Yeah.
Well, the other mentors already tried that and failed.
Yes. Well, I think I know mine, so I can go. I think being able to get hands-on with the game so early, before pretty much anyone else except for people who worked at Ubisoft, was not only a super cool experience to be able to see something so something like Assassin's Creed so early and be able to actually play it, but it was like incredibly humbling.
Yeah.
It's like, who am I to like have my hands on this game so early? I'm not some person from like a video game outlet or something, like a YouTuber who voices their opinions online for people to hear. I'm just me. I'm just a fan, and it's so cool just to kind of have that opportunity to play something and voice my feedback about it, and that Ubisoft and the whole team, the whole community team, like really trusts us to be honest and kind of speak our mind. You know, we're all fans, but at the same time, you know, we're not just going to sugarcoat it and be like, it's the greatest thing ever. So we really let them know kind of, you know, here's what we think about this and this and this, and to actually hear that they took some of our feedback and implemented it is incredibly humbling and crazy. And I still don't understand how I'm here, but it's very flattering to say the least. But that was my favorite experience, I think. That and meeting everybody, of course, like meeting the team and interacting with everybody. But the moment from the trip was when they brought us into the room and let us go hands-on. It was just like, I can't believe this is happening.
That is a mentor favorite, by the way.
Yeah, I'm sure.
What about you,
I'm sure
Sam?
that's super unique, but...
Yeah, for mine, gosh, there were so many amazing moments. And I think for me, it was just meeting the people. You know, it's... And obviously having access to the game early was totally a perk, but to kind of be in this environment of seeing where ideas are made and how they curate them, and to just be meeting the people who are bringing something that you love together. Like, it was just so surreal, and seeing a lot of, for me, the concept artwork just, I couldn't hold it in. I was so passionate seeing all of Ralph's work and the concept designs and everything. For me, that just blew me away, especially with the environment and the colors that they use. Like, from an artist perspective, I had so much respect for what they're doing and what they're trying to go for. But it was really meeting the team, everyone from, the historian to Maxine to meeting, the director, and then all the people in between who really worked so hard to make something. That blew me away, because you just see the game and you get to play it, but there's a lot of people who pour their hearts into these games, and to meet them face to face and to have that honor was just, once again, humbling experience for sure.
And to follow up, just because you know how much I love Assassin's Creed 4, getting to meet and talk with Ash was just like such a fangirl moment. It was just like, I remember you from all the Assassin's Creed 4 videos when you were talking about it, and now I'm like talking to you in person about all this crazy stuff, and that was too cool.
It was such a sweet moment.
He's such a cool guy. Just like him when I grow up.
Yeah. But the team was amazing. Like, we really were so thankful to everyone, and meeting you guys from around the world, and how you expressed your love of Assassin's Creed. Like, it just was inspiring. Mm-hmm. Like, every aspect was just pure inspiration.
Yep.
That's so nice. That's so nice. Okay, guys, so thank you very much for being our guests in this podcast, and we would like you to tell our fans where they can find you, to talk to you, to interact with you, or just to have advices on cosplay and stuff like that.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us, and you can check out my work and contact me through social media. My tag is at Sam Schuyler Art, and that's also my website too, samschuylerart.com.
Okay, Alex?
Yeah, and I am on Instagram as my primary social media
for
platform.
Both of us.
For both of us, Instagram. And I am Sith in the North, so kind of a Game of Thrones / Star Wars reference. Assassin's Creed, unfortunately, but, I love a lot of things. And
nerds.
I'm also going to be, I'm on Twitch at the same name, so I'm going to start trying to get heavier into that as well. So twitch.tv/Sith in the North.
Yep.
So, Sam, Alex, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Yeah, cool. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, you guys. We miss you.
All right. Our last guest and representative of the creatives category is our friend Faye.
Hi, Marco. Thank you for having me.
So, Faye, can you please introduce yourself to our fans?
Yeah, of course. I'm Faye. My online handle pretty much everywhere is Chariflame. I'm mostly a cosplayer and a fan artist, but I'm kind of like everywhere within the AC community. So, yeah.
Well, Faye, you are very active in the community. So, how did you get involved with Assassin's Creed and its community?
Well, I got into AC when the first game came out, and I remember back then the community wasn't really the size it is now. The only places I was really active on back then that really was kind of like Twitter and LiveJournal, which ages me a bit. So there were small communities there, and there weren't many people either, so you kind of got to know everyone quite individually. But then over the years, as the series has expanded, so have all the bits of the community. So that's kind of how I got into the community. And it's really funny looking back now, like back in like 2008, I used to like scour the internet for any fan art I could find. And now like the fan art comes to you, there's so much of it. So that's really great.
Yeah.
So, considering you started with the first AC, what's your favorite game of the franchise? You have a lot to pick from.
That is such a hard question. So my personal favorite, and I'm not saying it's the best game, because I think that's a different question, but my personal favorite is probably Revelations, which I know is not a popular answer from most people.
But that's original.
Yeah, but I have a lot of sentimental attachment to that game. That was like the lead up to that game, like the hype, like when that first like cinematic trailer dropped, like that game, kind of the atmosphere and the tone of it was like the best for me. And I'm one of those people who really likes all the modern stuff. So I really liked all the modern content in that game and the DLC a lot. So kind of as a package, I really love Revelations. I wouldn't say it's the best game, but it's definitely my favorite.
So going back to what we said before, so getting involved and your involvement with the AC community, how much of your day is dedicated to what you do for the community, and what is the main characteristic of this community that got you so tied to it?
So I guess I always have like a project or two going at any given time, whether that's like actively working on a costume or thinking of what I want to do in the future. So really, in terms of how much my day is spent on it, there's two ends of the spectrum. There's either just kind of sitting on Twitter chatting about AC, or I'm like rush sewing a costume in like 12-hour bursts. Like I don't usually have much of it in between. And in regards to the main characteristics I love about the community, I really love how varied everyone is. A lot of the time a series will attract like a certain type of fan, but with AC there are people from all backgrounds, all demographics, and so many different talents. So I'm always like constantly amazed by all the different places everyone comes to and how varied everyone in the community is.
So we already explained a bit what the creative group is going to do, but can you please expand a bit more on what the mission for this group is?
So, I mean, like you've already said before, like our main focus in the Mentors Guild is to kind of help to support the community, all in our own different ways. And kind of, as I'm a creative-oriented person, my role is to kind of make sure the community gets all the resources it needs to make content and to kind of encourage that. For example, some character references were released recently, one for Bayek from Origins. So cosplayers and fan artists can use that to, help them create their content. So helping that kind of stuff get out is one of my main roles. And in general, kind of like shining a spotlight on some of the stuff being made in the community and just encouraging this kind of cycle of people getting content and creating content from it. Like encouraging that is my main role as a mentor, I guess.
And well, the other cool thing of being a mentor, I think that it was the beautiful chance that they gave us to be in Montreal in January. And speaking of that, I would like to ask you, what is your favorite memory from that trip?
That is another hard question because I want to say all of it. The whole trip was an amazing experience. I'm so humbled that we got given that opportunity. If I had to pick one moment of the trip, though, it was not long after we got to the Ubisoft offices on the first day. We got given like a tour of the studio, so seeing everyone at their desks, hard at work making Origins. But they didn't like tell us about Origins before we went on that tour, so we didn't really know what the new game was until we stepped into those offices and saw concept art on the walls, people at their desks like working on models and animations, and kind of getting that like was
such an impact, and it was so exciting just being, and then we got walked around the offices, and it was so hard to be kind of quiet and professional and not freak out by seeing all of this amazing stuff like on the walls and at desks and then meeting people. Like, it was a very intense moment, but like it was a really fun way to be shown Origins for the first time. Definitely that, I think.
Yeah, we kept stumbling into each other because we were looking around instead.
Yeah.
There was so much to be seen there. So.
And because we were given like a tour, and we got to, the person giving us a tour around would just introduce people to us. And sometimes it'd be like, oh, here's someone, they'll just say a name, and I'm like, oh my God, it's you. Like I've been a fan of yours for years, but it's, again, trying to be professional about it instead of just walking around like, oh my God. Like, it was really great though. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah, that is so true.
Okay, thank you, Faye, for being part of the show. It's really nice to have you in here. Would you like to tell our fans where they can find you on social media?
Absolutely. So my biggest platform is probably Twitter. I'm Chariflame there. And I have kind of links to everywhere else you can find me through Twitter. So you can see all my cosplays and all that kind of stuff through Twitter. That's probably the best way.
Thank you so much, Faye.
So in this last section of the podcast, we are going to present you the last two groups of the Mentors Guild, and these groups are the content creators and the fan group leaders.
We're going to start with the content creators. Basically, their mission is to, like the name says, create content about the games of the Assassin's Creed franchise, and specifically to put some dedicated attention to some of the key features of the games.
Yes, and our first mentor that is part of this group is our friend Singfully Riddling. Hello.
Hello.
So, first and foremost, can you introduce yourself to our fans?
Absolutely. I'm Simply Riddling, otherwise known as Meg. I broadcast full-time on Twitch. I play all different kinds of games, but I'm a really huge AC fan. I've streamed a lot of the AC games, and it's one of the series that's very near and dear to my heart.
So where did your passion for the Assassin's Creed franchise start, and how did you begin interacting with its community?
So I played AC2. It was one of the first games that I got when I got my Xbox 360, and a friend recommended it to me, and I'm really glad that they did, because like right off the bat, it ended up being one of my favorite games, and it led me to one of my favorite series, which was amazing. But the way that I got involved with the community started out on Twitter. At one point, I tweeted a photo of my Xbox controller because I have a little guide button on it that's actually the AC logo, with all the games that I have and some other like collectibles. And the Assassin's Creed Twitter retweeted it, which was really cool. And I was like freaking out. And I remember seeing it like super early before class one morning, and it like made my day. But that allowed me to really connect with a lot of the fans, because then a lot of AC fans saw it, and that really was how I kind of put my foot into the community and got more involved.
So would you say that because you started with AC2, is that like your favorite game, or do you have like another favorite game?
AC, it's hard for me because I go back and forth. I think my favorite would be Black Flag. The reason for that is because I love pirates. I love pirate history. So I went into the game with like a knowledge of that history already, and seeing that in the game and seeing familiar faces and names was really, really a cool experience. But also because I love Edward. I love that he's not like your standard stereotypical good guy hero. He's in it for himself. And then, he kind of goes through and he learns his lessons, and he sees what happens when you are selfish and when you do things for yourself and for greedy purposes. So I think it teaches a great lesson. I love the characters. I love the story. So my favorite would probably be Black Flag, but AC2 is a very, very close second, just because I've played it so many times, and it was the first one that really got me into the series. So I love it as well.
Well, there are two beautiful games, so
yeah. Why choosing?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you told us that your activities are mainly on Twitch as a streamer, and well, you don't stream only for Assassin's Creed, I guess. So you have the chance of interacting with a lot of different fandoms. And what I would like to ask is, what's so different about interacting with the AC community in particular?
So something that I always really love about streaming Assassin's Creed games is, while it doesn't always bring in a lot of super new people because it's an older game, of course, I always do get at least a couple people who are really like diehard AC fans, and they come in and they're like, wow, like I love this game. What's your favorite AC? I love Ezio. And then we kind of have like this conversation about Assassin's Creed, which I really, really love because it feels like everybody in the AC community is super friendly. Whereas, there's other games that are more known for having a more toxic community, and that's something that definitely shows when you stream it and people come in from that community and they say things that are not so nice. So I find that whenever I stream AC games, people tend to be very, very friendly, and they want to talk about the game and, bond over it with fellow fans. And I love seeing that. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That's something that a lot of fans, and I think some of the mentors already in our interview have told us.
Yeah.
So speaking about mentors, would you like to share with our fans what's your role as a mentor?
So for me, I am the video creator, the content creator type for the Mentors Guild. So basically, when we go to events and stuff like that, I kind of work on projects on site, and I help to sort of create content and foster the community through my streams, and kind of share information and get people excited over the game. So I think the way that I became a mentor was through my Twitch streaming, but I have social media accounts everywhere. So I want to use those to really help build up the hype and connect the community for AC.
So at this point of the podcast, our followers already know what I'm going to ask you. So would you like to share with us your favorite memory from our trip in Montreal?
All of it. I think for me, I really did enjoy the entire experience. There were two highlights that are tied for first place for me. The first being definitely seeing the mocap scene filmed live. That was super duper cool. Cause I would always spend like hours just watching mocap being filmed on YouTube because I thought it was just such a really cool thing to see. And it's so weird. They've got like these neon yellow props and it just looks ridiculous, but it's so cool to see it happen. So that was really cool. And then also definitely getting to play a very early build of the game and kind of see a game that early in development. I've never seen a game that early in development, let alone a game from like one of my favorite series. So it was kind of cool to see sort of, it's like watching a baby grow up, I guess, and seeing it like in a very early stage when most people don't get to see it that early on and giving feedback. It was just honestly surreal getting to do that.
Yeah.
And was it difficult to keep it from your fans and, the people that follow you on your streams?
Definitely, because people would ask me a lot. They would come into my chat and they would mention AC Origins, or they would mention like, oh, like this leak or whatever, and I would just kind of sit there and just act like I didn't see it. And it was hard because I, something so awesome and I want to share every detail, but I know it's important, of course, not to. But it was so hard to contain that information, especially when people were like, "Hey, what'd you do at Montreal?" I'm just like, I don't know. Nothing.
I can't remember.
Well, Megan, thank you so much for being part of the show and for accepting and being here. Would you like to tell our fans where they can find you on social media and for your streams?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. You can find me on Twitter. My Twitter is S_Riddling. And then pretty much everything else is Sinfully Riddling. I stream 5 days a week at twitch.tv/Sinfully Riddling. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
So we thank Megan, and now we can welcome our next guest and content creator, Clement from AC Universe.
Hi.
So I'm pretty sure that everyone knows AC Universe, but can you introduce yourself and tell our fans something about you?
Sure. So I'm Clement, but you might actually know me as Y24 Room from the Assassin's Creed Universe channel on YouTube. Basically, I'm a content creator on Assassin's Creed. I make all kind of Assassin's Creed videos, like montages, analysis, news. But I think we are mainly known for our montages and tributes.
So AC Universe has been a long time project now, and you have been part of the community for many years. So how did that start for you?
I'm gonna tell you the short story. So I bought a PS3 in December 2009, and one of my very first game was Assassin's Creed 2. And the reason why I bought AC2 was because I had watched both the TGS story trailer and the launch trailer. and I just love them. They really had something special and epic, and they made me want to discover Ezio and experience his journey. So I played AC2, and I just fell in love with the game, with its characters, the gameplay, the story, the mythology, the lore, basically everything. And I love this game so much that I wanted to do something about it, So first I spent a lot of time on the French forums to discuss with other people about the series, speculate on the forum of the franchise, etc. And it was a ton of fun. I met great people. And I kind of had the reputation of the guy who posted all the AC news, which was really cool. But it wasn't enough. I needed to do more, and I wanted to be involved in the community by creating something around AC. And as I said before, one thing that really impressed me with AC was the trailer, because they really capture the epic aspect of the games. So just for fun, I decided to do my own trailers and share them with the community. And it turns out that people really enjoyed them. So I decided to create a channel where I would upload not only my montages, but also like news, analysis, theories. And then I met Nyosuko in 2013, and we decided to work together and create the AC Universe channel. And here we are today.
So we all of us saw your videos, and they are great. And I think
Thanks.
that they take a lot of time to be created. So how much of your time in the day you dedicate to what you do for the AC community?
A lot of time, because it's not only about making videos. I also spend a lot of time reading the comments on our channel, managing our social media. But when it comes to video, you also, when you make like discussion videos, you also have to take the time to write scripts and everything. So I'd say that pretty much every day I do something related to AC and its community, and it takes a lot of time, for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
But it's always worth it, right?
Well, thanks.
So, big question. What's your role as a mentor?
Good question. And I would say that my role as a mentor would be to bring to the fans cool, interesting, and engaging content. And through that content, create a conversation among the community.
So, Clément, to create your content, your videos, you always have to use a lot of different materials from all the games of the Assassin's Creed franchise. So, which is your favorite game and why?
I can give you my top 3. AC2, AC4, and AC1.
Oh,
okay.
That's a nice pick.
Yeah.
So, last question, Clément. Your favorite memory from our trip in Montreal?
The favorite thing I did was a bit special. It was meeting Darby McDavid and eating pizza with him while talking about AC. That was the highlight of the trip for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can get why. It was awesome. Okay, so Clément, can you tell our fans where they can find you on the web and how they can get in touch with you?
You can follow me on my personal Twitter account, Y24Room, or you can follow us on our channel, Assassin's Creed Universe, without the E at the end, because we are a French channel. We receive a lot of comments like, is there no E at the end? That's because we are French, so yeah.
Mystery solved. Okay. Okay.
Clément, thank you for being part of the show.
Thank you for having me.
And so here we are, last group of the Mentors Guild. So this group is the fan group leaders. The mission of this group is to help and facilitate the interaction among the fans of the franchise and to create a strong connection among them. And, well, of course, to share information about the games.
And I'm so happy that we're talking about this because being a fan of the lore of the franchise, I'm very happy to introduce our next guest, who is like a walking encyclopedia of Assassin's Creed. He is the head of the Assassin's Creed Wiki. Hello, Philip.
Hello.
So I really doubt that there is someone among the ones that are listening to this podcast that do not know about the Assassin's Creed Wiki. But if there is anyone among them, well, can you explain something about yourself and about the Wiki?
Well, you already introduced me a bit, so I'll probably just skip to what I do. I'm the head administrator of the Assassin's Creed Wiki, and which nowadays means I just make sure everything runs fluidly on the Wiki and that everybody, well, damn, what do I do? I don't even know.
Okay, like you said that you are, administrating and managing things on the wiki, but do you still write for the pages on the wiki as well?
It used to be that I would edit a lot of articles and create a lot of articles. Nowadays, though, real life has caught up to me a bit, so mostly it's just administrative tasks.
And when did this start? I mean, when did you decide to put your efforts in the wiki?
I have been editing wikis since about 2009, which is also the year I first came into contact with Assassin's Creed. I first heard about it back when it came out in 2007, but it didn't appeal to me, so I never really bothered buying it, despite a lot of people telling me to. And then I picked up a second-hand copy, and I just fell in love with the game. So much so that I just had to edit the Assassin's Creed wiki, and I've been there ever since.
So, through all these years, you surely followed all the phases of Assassin's Creed and all the games through the Wikia. And surely, among all of us, you're the one that knows the most about the game. So, which one is your favorite?
Assassin's Creed 2, because coincidentally I dreamt about playing the game last night.
So you just dreamt about it, or is it like your real favorite game?
Well, I think I dreamt about it because it's my favorite game. It's the game I played the most and the one I'm still most in love with. I think, without exaggerating, I played it about 14 times from beginning to end.
What?
Oh, wow, Philip,
yeah,
that's a lot.
Yes. Well, everything about the game is just, it works. The story is great. It's pretty straightforward, but it works. The entire world of the game is beautiful, and the characters are likable. There's nothing about that game I dislike except from, well, the graphics, which are pretty dated, but
yeah,
nostalgia fixes that.
So I'm pretty sure that the wiki requires a lot of time and dedication for those who work on it. And so how much of your day do you dedicate to that?
Well, like I said, the past year has been, for me, most of my time has been dedicated to my university. So a lot of days I don't have a lot of time to spend time on the wiki. Used to be I would get home from school every day and then sit on the wiki from 4 p.m. to whenever I got to bed.
Oh, wow, Philip, you spent so many hours on the wiki. You were so active.
I used to be, and I still would like to be, but I just don't have the time. So I do whatever I can and whenever I can, which is, well, maybe once a week, just cleaning up stuff on the wiki, if I have time enough to do so. So I hope in the future, when I graduate, I'll have a lot of more time to do stuff.
So let's get into the good stuff, the Mentors Guild. What is your role for the program?
My role as a mentor is to be a fan group leader, and I think that means that I am a line between the fans and the developers. So if the fans have any questions about certain things, I will be the person that in a position to ask them to the developers. And also, as the head of the wiki, I will have access to information earlier than other sites will. So the wiki will be one of the first sites to be updated with new content.
So Phil, last question. Your favorite memory from our trip in Montreal back in January?
I would say all the downtime we got with the developers, just hanging out with Ashraf and Darby and Amar, all the people that make these games, and just having the opportunity to ask them all the questions that have been on the front of my mind these past couple of years.
Oh, well, Philip, I was sure that your favorite moment was when you humiliated all of us during the trivia with the devs.
All right, let's just go with that one. That was my favorite activity.
All right, Philip, can you tell our fans where they can find you on the web?
Well, they can find me on the wiki. My profile is Master Simayi, so they'll be pretty easy to find, I would say.
Well, thank you very much, Philip.
Thank you for having me.
And at this point of the interview, we are missing the last and 10th mentor, but
who might that be?
Plot twist! It was the co-host of this podcast all along.
Oh,
wow! So
what a surprise!
Welcome again to the podcast. Sorry.
Thank you. So I guess that they know how it works by now. So
yes.
I'll introduce myself again. So I'm sorry. I was one of the members of the original team that founded Access the Animals in 2013. I'm webmaster for Access the Animals. I am video editor for the few videos that we do. And I help with translations with our Stefania, with our wonderful Stefania, that is our chief translator.
Wow, chief translator seems so
professional, yeah. Right? But she is, so
she is.
It's fine. So that's it. That's what I do.
So, like we asked all the other mentors, can you share with our fans how you got involved with the AC yes. and the community?
So I was absolutely a non-gamer. I didn't like video games so much and stuff like that. But then I met my co-host, yeah. Markuz, and he's an hardcore gamer. And I started getting involved in Assassin's Creed in 2007 when he started playing it. And I actually became part of the community when we founded Access the Animals, because before I wasn't interacting with it so much. But starting with the foundation of Access the Animals, I got more and more into the community since now, which is like a second family. So.
And how much of your day is dedicated to what you do with ATA and interacting with the community?
Yeah, I actually am not able to count the hours. So it really depends on the time of the year. So there are days or months that are more demanding than others, like during E3 or during Gamescom, when news are more frequent and stuff like that. So some months are really demanding, so even a lot of hours of my day are dedicated to what I do for Access the Animals. So it really depends, but a lot, however.
A lot, as always for
yeah.
us. And another question that we asked all the other mentors is, of course, what's your favorite game of the franchise? I know you have a...
Yeah, I'm a different position.
Yeah.
If I lived in the Assassin's Creed world, I would be a Templar. So my favorite game is, of course, Assassin's Creed Rogue. And my favorite character is Shay, because I love his development, his change in position between from being an assassin to becoming a Templar, and I absolutely love his story and his shades of grey along the way. So yeah. He's absolutely my favorite game and character.
So going back to the purpose of this podcast, and this is, I think, is the last time we're going to ask this question, like the other ones.
You never know.
You never know. So, what's your role as a mentor? What are you going to do for the Mentors Guild?
Yes. So in the group with Philip from the Wikia. So we are fan group leaders. And in the mentors, I just represent the Access the Animals team, because I'm not the mentor. I'm just I'm there to represent the whole team of Access the Animals. So our role is to share and spread information, like news, articles, stuff that we already do. So we will just try and do it better. And the most important role, I think, is to develop our community, to help our fans to create a group that can interact both online and in real life. So, like, for example, at events, like we may do at Gamescom. Maybe you saw something these days
We'll
that we
see.
announced. And so, the biggest part of our role is that to create a strong community and to help fans to interact with each other.
That's I think it's going to be very challenging but satisfying at the same time.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so like we mentioned throughout the entirety of the podcast and at the beginning as well, you with all the other mentors went on a trip to Montreal in
Yes.
January as the beginning of the Mentors Guild. So, do you have a specific favorite memory of that event, or like are there many, like some of the mentors mentioned?
Well, there are, of course, many, but my favorite one is absolutely the trivia with the devs. I sucked at it. I really, I was not a good representative for HDA. I'm sorry, but it was really funny. I was in team with Maxime Durand and Maxime Fauché and Alex, and we were like destroyed by Philip from
By
the
Philip,
weekend.
yes.
Yeah, but it was really fun because it was a challenge among teams, and it was funny. It was really funny. We were all trying to think of the right answers to give, and we just came up with some very strange answers
And especially wrong ones.
yes, but it was funny. It was
Yeah.
absolutely funny.
All right, so Sarah, would you like to share with our fans where they can find you on social media
Yes,
before
of-
we wrap up?
Yes, of course. So, well, you can find me on every single social media of Access the Animals. So, if you want to reach out, just right there. But if you want to talk directly with me, just go on Twitter, twitter.com/Sary_ATA, which spells SARY_ATA. So, if you want to talk, I'm there.
All right, then. I think we're done with all the interviews with all the guests. That was
That was a
very
hell of a ride, yeah.
Yes. All right, then. I think we're finally done with with the interviews. So, thank you guys for watching and for listening to the podcast and for getting up until the end with all the information we gave about all the mentors and the program. And thank you again. If you want to share what your opinions, please do that on in the comments below, because we really like to know what you think about this new program.
Yes, and if you have questions, if you want to, I don't know, have clarifications about anything that's been said during this podcast, please go on and write in the comments. We'll answer. And if you want to know something particular about other mentors, they will be informed of your questions and they maybe will answer you directly.
So that's really it for the podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yes, and may the Father of Understanding
No!
guide us.
Again with this?
Yes.